The admiration for Christian Petrarca after the King's birthday game went up another notch. We all appreciate his play and tenacity, but his bravery was on full display. He got kneed by Collingwood captain Darcy Moore right in the sweet spot. He hunched over in extreme agony and barely could get off the ground. Through pure grit and a couple injections for the pain, Petrarca put himself back on the field for the second quarter, but clearly his movement was limited and he wanted no physical contact at all. I think most people at home were shocked he even attempted to come out in the field. We now know the severity of what happened to him. 4 broken ribs, a grade 5 lacerated spleen, and partially punctured lung. He announced that his 2024 season was officially over. Questions have been raised over Melbourne's medical staff and the AFL ticking off how they managed the situation. They are lucky that while he was out there, he didn't cop another hit in the region because the result could have been devastating. But some players have stayed out in the field with these type of horrific injuries. The adrenaline and competitiveness was so overwhelming that these footballers overcame serious trauma. We go back to the 2015 preliminary final. Fremantle made the 2013 grand final, losing to Hawthorn, and had a chance for revenge. After beating Sydney in the qualifying final, they awaited the winner of the Hawks and Crows. Hawthorn won easily and headed out west to play the preliminary final. The one man they had to stop was Nat Fyfe. He didn't know it at the time, but in the next week he would become a Brownlow medalist as he dominated the 2015 season. Fremantle started well, up by 2 goals before this incident occurred.
Fyfe, he's sore, isn't he? You can see it just by his movement.
There's Fyfe and Shields again there. You can see that's from earlier, but just
And he doesn't want
body pressure on him.
doesn't want contact in that lower leg. That's where he's been.
The incident straightened out his left leg and Fyfe was hobbling. In the vision here, you can see he can barely put weight on it and sprinting was extremely difficult. Still, he stayed out and was one of Fremantle's best in the 27-point loss. He had 24 disposals and 9 clearances. After the game, it was confirmed that Fyfe had played the game with a fractured fibula. He had minor surgery soon after, and it was further revealed coming into the final there was concern over inflammation lingering over his left fibula. It's why when accepting the 2015 Brownlow, he had that little limp. It was a remarkable feat and showed the will and commitment Nat Fyfe had to reach another grand final. There were plenty of great stories from the Western Bulldogs 2016 season. They broke a 62-year premiership drought, overcame serious injuries during the season, and were the lowest ranked side, being 7th, to win the grand final. But don't forget about Dale Morris. The tough veteran defender battled through pain during the entire final series.
There's been lots. Was going into the 2016 final series with what loosely termed was a broken back. Yeah. What was the injury?
It happened in the last round of the season when we played Freo over there, and I just copped a bump, a knock to the back, and it felt like a corky in my back. And the pain just got worse and worse and worse, and then we flew home and I couldn't move. And it turns out that the transverse process, so the wings on your spine, I'd fractured 2 of those, and that was the injury.
He got some medical help and did have some discomfort on the plane ride over to Perth when the Bulldogs played West Coast in the elimination final. The team and Morris got through unscathed, but driving to the MCG against Hawthorn gave the perfect description of the volatile nature of the injury he had.
So that was the first final. The second final against Hawthorn, my back stirred up. I was driving in to the MCG over the steering wheel because I couldn't bend my back.
Really?
It flared up and I couldn't move.
Coming to the game.
Coming to the game. I didn't think I was actually going to play. So I came in and saw the physios came in very early because I was terrified I wasn't going to be able to play.
His back stabilised after this, but in the warm-up against the Giants, Morris thought his Achilles had torn. Heel raises and more pain medication just before the bounce got him through the grueling game. He was battered and bruised, but played an outstanding grand final. Franklin, who rolled an ankle himself, was controlled and kicked just one goal. Morris was the 4th highest rated player on the ground, having 15 disposals going at 93%, 10 intercepts and 4 tackles, one in which led to the Tom Boyd goal, which just about sealed the game. It was a month full of pain and plenty of physio work, but at the end of the day, was all worth it for Morris and the Bulldogs. In the 1989 Grand Final, there wasn't one player that went down with a serious injury, but 3. Many football fans have the Grand Final as one of the greatest games of all time. It is equally famous for its brutality, and in 3 specific incidents shows the courage of the men, the win-at-all-cost mentality at the time, and lack of medical awareness we have now. The first was with Hawthorn centre-half forward Dermot Brereton. While running into the centre square at the opening bounce, Mark Yates came from across the wing and crunched him. Again, it was right in that sweet spot. Brereton laid still and got helped up, but didn't even go off the field. Barry Gavin, the Hawthorn physio at the time, said this: "The thing that really struck me was how bad he was when I got there. He lost all the colour in his face and was vomiting. He dragged himself back on his feet by this stage, but he was doubled over, dry retching, and his colour was grey. Just moments after, he took a strong mark and kicked a goal, on his way to collecting 9 total disposals and 3 goals for the match. After the game, it was established he had suffered broken ribs, a bruised kidney, and suffered some internal bleeding." A lesser-known incident happened at the end of the first quarter to John Platten. The 1987 Brownlow medalist had a horror history of concussion while playing football, believing to have had well over 30 serious head knocks. In this incident, it's thought a Gary Hocking elbow was the cause of the concussion, but no footage of it is available. Platten played the rest of the quarter before having to be taken off.
There's others as well, Platts. He's wandering around in the centre of the MCG at quarter time. And it's hard to really locate the concussion blow. It's probably Buddha at about the 29-minute mark gets him with an elbow. But he is asking where can he get to the showers so that he can... He's basically saying when is the grand final parade going to start, the motorcade. So he wants to get to the city square for the grand final parade. He has no idea he's in the middle of the MCG.
Thankfully, he was taken off and watched the rest of the game from the sidelines. However, he has no recollection of the game or receiving his premiership medal. 5 minutes before Platten's concussion was physically at the time the most serious of the injuries that day. Robert Dippier Domenico watched the ball float into Geelong's half-forward area. Courageously, he stood right under the ball and took what was coming.
You've got to do what you've got to do. I knew what was coming behind me. Gary was telling me he's coming. I went back and copped what I did, and away we went, But,
So did he actually literally tell you he's coming?
I'm coming, big fella, I could hear him. I'm thinking, hurry up. Because there's no place to hide in the MCG, or let alone a football ground, Even today.
It was a brutal elbow-shoulder combo that makes everyone wince, like the incident with Christian Petrarca. Dipper hobbled off the ground and recouped. He returned and played out the entirety of the match, gathering 18 disposals and kicking a goal. He was so ill, it was announced during the medal presentation he was not available. The reality was, he was off to hospital where he was diagnosed with broken ribs and a punctured lung.
Watch the grand final. Or any of the grand finals I've played in. I've never really sat down and gone, you stop, pause and whatever, I know we've lost, I know we've won some. I know the 89 grand final, certain parts of the game. I know the fact that I ended up in hospital, and I know that I was very lucky to survive the day. But I remember also sitting there knowing that we won a premiership.
As Dipper said, to him it was all worth it. Hawthorn led all day before a last quarter comeback from Geelong got them within a goal. It finished 144 to 138 in a game that in hindsight resembled a gladiator fight more than a football match. These examples are all superhuman efforts in the heat of battle. Petrarca will hopefully heal up soon and come back better than ever in what is a disappointing finish to another fantastic season that the Melbourne champion was having.